Imagine 150,000 soldiers trapped in a deadly cauldron with no supplies, no orders, and no way out. What would you do if you were their commander? Would you risk everything on a desperate dash across mud-choked roads? September 30th, 1941. Operation Typhoon, the German High Command's most ambitious offensive, was in full swing, aiming to capture Moscow before winter froze their plans solid. Leading the charge was General Guderian, known as Fast Hinz, the man who had redefined modern warfare in Poland and France. He commanded the 2nd Panzer Army, a tidal wave of 150,000 men and hundreds of tanks. Across the line, the Soviets expected a direct attack on Bryansk, but Guderian struck 150 kilometers south where defenses were thin. His panzers didn't just break the line, they obliterated it. By October 9th, 3 entire Soviet armies were encircled. Can you picture the scale of that disaster? Tens of thousands of soldiers trapped, desperate, helpless, while the road to Moscow lay open. But then, nature intervened. Autumn rains arrived, the dreaded Rasputitsa. Overnight, roads turned to thick, black mud. Trucks sank to their axles, and even the panzers were forced to crawl along narrow, exposed highways. Guderian faced a choice: secure his rear and the trapped armies, or gamble everything on a race toward Tula. What would you do in his place? October 6th, 1941. Near the village of Otrada, Guderian's dash toward Moscow collided with a wall of steel. The German Panzerwaffe met its fiercest challenge yet. Colonel Mikhail Kadykov, commanding the 4th Tank Brigade, was outnumbered and outgunned, but he had a plan. Using Maskirovka, he created dummy positions with wooden tanks to deceive the Germans. When the German panzers attacked, their massive artillery strikes hit shadows. Meanwhile, real T-34s opened fire from the flanks. German tankers watched in disbelief as their 37mm shells, called door knockers, bounced harmlessly off sloped armor. This moment became known as the T-34 shock. Lieutenant Dmitry Lavernenko emerged as a legend. By October 11th, he had destroyed 7 German tanks. By December, his tally reached 52 armored vehicles. Pause for a moment. 52 kills in just 2.5 months. Could you imagine the impact of such a single ace? Kadykov's ambush stalled the German 4th Panzer Division. Guderian lost precious days to regroup. The invincible Blitzkrieg had been blunted by clever tactics and the sheer power of the T-34. Tula was more than a city, it was the forge of the Russian soul. Its factories produced Mosin Nagant rifles, Maxim machine guns, Nagant revolvers, and by 1941, SVT semi-automatic rifles, Tokarev pistols, and IL-2 Sturmovik heavy cannons, the Flying Tank. Fuel from the Tula and Stalinogorsk regions became the black gold, keeping Moscow alive. Factories didn't stop, even as German forces advanced. In early October, General Pavel Artemayev organized the Tula combat sector. Civilians, workers, women, and the elderly dug over 130 kilometers of anti-tank ditches in freezing mud. Imagine facing elite panzer divisions with only your bare hands and a rifle. Could you hold the line? On October 30th, German panzers and motorized infantry launched a massive assault on the southern outskirts. The NKVD regiments, supported by 85mm anti-aircraft guns repurposed as anti-tank weapons, repulsed the first wave. The Tula Workers' Battalion 500 factory hands held the line until Red Army reinforcements arrived. Guderian reported, "Small battle groups are no longer enough. We need a single, massive fist." What would you have done in their shoes? By mid-November, Guderian's army was exhausted. He decided to strike toward Venyov, a crucial rail hub. The Soviet defense was hanging by a thread. The 239th Rifle Division arrived directly from Siberia, thrown into battle immediately. For 3 days, they fought near Stalinogorsk, eventually encircled. General Zhukov acted decisively. replacing commanders and reinforcing the line. The Soviets deployed the 108th Tank Division, equipped with KV-1 heavy tanks, but a tactical error spread them thin, and after a brutal bombardment by Stuka dive bombers, the German 17th Panzer Division captured Venyov. The road to Moscow lay open, and German panzers raced north toward Kashira, threatening vital bridges over the Oka River. Yet deep snow, bitter winds, and freezing temperatures slowed them. Just 8 kilometers from their target, the Germans halted at Piatnitsa. One day of hesitation changed the course of history. Could you have acted differently under such pressure? While Guderian regrouped, the stakes rose. On November 7th, defenders of Tula launched counterattacks. The 32nd Tank Brigade, led by Colonel Y.U. Shuk, struck German lines, but coordination with infantry and artillery was limited. German positions faced a lethal wall of fire. By November 9th, command shifted. The 50th Army was now under General Georgy Zhukov. He acted immediately, ordering brutal strikes that pushed the Germans back, buying the city precious time. By November 18th, Guderian abandoned the direct assault on Tula and pivoted toward Dedalovo and Uzlovaya, moving elite panzer units and the 239th Siberian Rifle Division into battle. Picture these soldiers stepping straight off trains into freezing wastelands to face the most feared tank army in the world. Could you hold the line after a 3,000-mile march? By early December, Guderian's army was a ghost of its former self. Tanks were stretched thin across a frozen salient 150 kilometers wide. Equipment failed in sub-zero temperatures, and morale shattered. The Soviet High Command seized the moment. On the night of December 6th, General Philip Golikov's 10th Army and Belov's 1st Guards Cavalry, the famous Red Cossacks, struck in a blinding blizzard. The retreat became a rout. By morning, the town of Mykolaiv was liberated. By December 10th, vital coal mines of Stalinogorsk returned to Soviet control. Guderian, pioneer of Blitzkrieg, was forced into a humiliating retreat, pushed 130 kilometers from Moscow. The southern flank was secure. Coal saved. The road to Moscow closed forever. Tula had stood firm for 42 days of hell. What was the true secret of their defense? Iron T-34s, or the iron will of the workers? Let us know in the comments. If you found this story incredible, hit like and subscribe for more untold chapters of the Great Crusade. For Tula, for Moscow, and for history.